Hello and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about whether or not it's worth to get a PhD degree in computer science if you want to be a software engineer. And there are many videos out there where people already talk about this, where they say a PhD might not be worth it, might be a total waste of your time. But the difference here is I actually got a PhD in computer science. So if other people that have a bachelor's degree and started their work tell you a PhD degree is not worth it, that might be the same thing as somebody that never ate pizza in his life tells you pizza isn't really tasty. So let's find out whether a PhD is worth it from somebody that actually got a PhD in computer science and what it helped me in my computer science or software engineering career. So the first question that you have to ask yourself is, what do you actually learn while doing a PhD, and is that in any way helpful later on in your software engineering career? The main goal of a PhD is to prove that you are able to do scientific work on your own. And that means you are trained to solve hard problems on your own, problems that require you to work on them relentlessly for days, sometimes weeks, to get them really solved. It also requires you to be able to write about your problems, document your problems, describe your problems, and then later on also present your solution and defend your solution and document your solution in a way so that others can understand it and also accept it as the right solution. So if you think about this main goal of solving hard problems, documenting how you solved them, and being used to do things that nobody has ever done before, that already prepares you to be a software engineer, because that's what you do as a software engineer, right? You solve hard problems, you develop programs that nobody has developed before, and you also have to specify your solution. You have to write about your solution in terms of requirements or design, documentation, and you also have to convince others that your solution is correct. So one soft skill that doing a PhD will give you, on the one hand, or on the other hand, that is necessary to actually be successful in doing your PhD, is you have to be really determined. You have to be somebody that doesn't give up when you see no progress, that doesn't give up when you have a problem that you can't solve right away, right? Really, you have to have the endurance to work at problems, to sweat it out, to just keep going, even in times where you feel you don't make progress at all. And that's also something that's very helpful as a software engineer, because you will find yourself in situations where you just can't seem to find the root cause of your issue. And you just need to keep going, right? And analyze the problem. And that's the other soft skill that you learn when you do a PhD in computer science. Really analytical thinking, looking at facts, sorting out the facts, making conclusions based off facts, building a plan on how to get a result, how to come to a conclusion, and you just learn how to structure your thoughts and how to come up with a structured approach to problem solving that can prove invaluable in a software engineering career. And then, of course, one skill that you will learn, because you have to publish your work, you have to write about your work, you have to present your work, and you also have to convince others that your work is good to actually be published and to get to be seen in the community of computer science, is you learn how to present yourself and how to present your work. And that's also very important in any business, but also in computer science and in software engineering. And that's maybe one of the most important soft skills at all that you learn while doing a PhD. You learn to learn things on your own. You will need to learn things when doing a PhD. And unlike in an undergraduate degree, there is no professor around that will hold your hand while you're doing it. Yes, the professor might give you an indication that this book or this keyword might be something that you should further research in, but that's basically it, right? And then it's up to you to find out, is this the right direction? What do you need to learn to solve your problem? What methods should you learn? Do you maybe need another program language? What's the best approach to tackle this problem, right? So you learn to really learn on your own, find solutions on your own, and that's something that is very helpful as a software engineer, because you later on just accept the challenges more naturally, right? When you see legacy code that has been written in another programming language, you won't say, well, I was never trained in this language, I can't do this. You would just try to understand the code and not stop. And that's one thing that you will get out of a PhD. One other very important point about doing a PhD is it might be one of the only times in your career where you can devote a lot of time on one specific topic, namely the topic of your PhD thesis, where you really can dig deep in this topic and learn everything that is to learn about this. So if you really have a passion for one specific field, be it data mining, data science, computer graphics, formal methods in software engineering, algorithms and data structures, whatever it might be, this is the time where you can really go deep and understand everything that is there to understand. Of course, you will never reach a point where you have understood everything, but at least you have the time to spend and to understand and dig deep. And that's why also once you have the PhD, you might also find a job where you can apply this, right? When you have a PhD with a topic in data science, there are various positions out there that this might be helpful. Or if you have a PhD in machine learning or in formal methods in computer science or in software engineering, there is so many companies out there that need the specialist know-how, and at the same time know that when you have a PhD, you have this ability to learn, to solve problems, to, in a structured way, go do new things that never have been done before. And I think this is really what you can only learn while doing a PhD, in this depth and in this theoretical foundation as well. So apart from the soft skills that you will learn while doing a PhD and the ability to really deep dive into a topic and being a specialist in a topic, there obviously also is a financial component to whether or not a PhD pays off or not, right? And of course, the situation is drastically different depending on the country where you do the PhD in, right? Because there are countries like, for instance, Germany, where I did my PhD, where you actually get paid from the university to do your PhD, right? So usually you have an arrangement that you do research for your PhD, and you also do some lecturing at the university, and you get paid a decent salary, right? It's maybe a little bit lower than what you would get in the industry when you would go for a job there with a master's, but it's reasonable, and you also have a lot of flexibility. You have a lot of freedom to choose when you work, where you work from, what you're working on, right? So that's definitely a fair compensation. And then, of course, there are other countries like the US where you actually might need to pay for a PhD program, right? And where you actually might to pay, I don't know, 350,000 US dollars to get a PhD. And that's, of course, something that you need to consider, whether this money is really worth it, or at least when you do it in Germany, whether the delta between what you could get in the industry compared to what you get in a PhD position is worth it to you, and whether you can afford that in your current life situation. Usually, and this was the case also in my situation, you come directly out of your master's degree, right? So you are still used to living a student's lifestyle. You are still used maybe to have a flatmate. You are not already used to earning a lot of money. And that's why I think if you decided early, just right after your studies, you might be perfectly fine. So now the question, of course, is if you opt for the PhD degree, and this is also something that I discussed in my earlier video that I will also link here, whether or not at all you need a computer science degree, there is a difference in pay between a bachelor, master, and a PhD degree. So according to pay scale, if you look at the average salary of a software engineering position with a bachelor degree, you can earn in average 82,000 US dollars annually. If you have a master degree, that's 109,000 US dollars annually, and with a PhD degree, 127,000 US dollars annually. That's, of course, averages, right? So that's always hard to tell whether you will get exactly the 22,000 US dollars difference to master degree, and in which years you will get that, right? My general position on computer science, software engineering, programming is, if you are in it for the money, that's already a waste of your time, right? You have to be passionate about it. You have to love what you do, and then money will come. If you only do it because of the money, yeah, that's go watch somebody else's videos. Okay, what are other benefits of a PhD degree, or if doing a PhD? Well, one is, as I already said, during the PhD time, it's especially in Germany, like being a student that gets paid, right? So you have a lot of freedom, you have a lot of flexibility, and you have also less classes than when you would actually be a student. You can pick the topics that you want to work on. It's really a very nice work environment. It's really a very nice lifestyle. The second benefit that you will get is conferences, right? So in computer science, the way how you earn your PhD is by publishing, and usually what you would publish first is conference papers. And how that works is you send in your publication, it's peer reviewed by other professors and by other computer science students or PhD students. Then once it's accepted, you travel to that conference and will then present your topic, your research in a presentation. And if you do this the right way, you can travel quite a lot, right? So my PhD took me to Cape Town, South Africa. I was in Salt Lake City, Stony Brook, New York. I was in Naples, Italy. Of course, a lot of German cities that I have visited. So a lot of cities that you can travel, a lot of nice conferences that you can attend. And also here again, it's not what you're used to in an industry job where you fly in with a red eye flight, wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, go to the airport, fly to wherever you need to go. At 9 o'clock you are there in the office, and then you stay there all day. You crash in a hotel, and then you fly home after the next day of work. No, there you also will have socializing. You will have dinners at the conferences. You can go sightseeing. Sometimes it's even part of the conference that you go sightseeing. So it's really an experience also to do that. And of course, one other big benefit is if you have a topic that's interesting also for industry, that's interesting for businesses, you will have industry partnerships, you will have industry collaboration. So what that gives you is you can basically get an inside view of different companies. So at that time when I did my PhD, we worked, for instance, together with BMW or Mercedes-Benz and Airbus, and I got the chance basically to work with those companies, work with teams in those companies, spend some time in those companies, learn how they work. And that's definitely a plus. You also build relationships that you can later on use to get a job. And you can just explore this world as well. Of course, there are also some arguments against doing a PhD. First of all, I think a PhD is not for everyone. You really have to have this endurance, this keep going spirit, that you master the hard times where you don't get any publications published, where you don't make progress in your research. That's part of every PhD student's life, that you just feel stuck sometimes, and that you then need to somehow keep going and get out of this rut and make progress again. So it's not for everyone. Second of all, there is arguably some kind of opportunity cost, right? So depending on how you calculate, when you go into the industry earlier, earn more money there than you would as a PhD student, or don't have to pay for the PhD program, then that's of course something that from a monetary point of view might help you. Then depending on what you want to do long term, there is a difference in the experience that you can gain in the industry while actually working the job, and the experiences and soft skills that you learn while you are a PhD student. In my case, I think doing the PhD helped me getting to a management position fairly quick in my career. It helped me entering on a senior position already when I made the transition to industry. And it's because of what you learn doing your PhD and the soft skills. There are other industries, there are other cases where work experience within the industry are more valued, and then that might not be the same for you. My recommendation here is you can check if you already have a dream job in mind, if you have a dream company in mind. Check out those people that work in those roles on LinkedIn. Find out what their career path looked like. And maybe you will find that 50% of the people in your dream roles at the dream companies have a PhD degree, then maybe it might be good to have one. Maybe you find out that they don't have degrees at all, and then maybe the PhD degree is optional. So that's really something you have to figure out where you want to go and whether or not it's worth for this individual career and life path or not. So that all being said, in summary, I really enjoyed my time as a PhD student. I did a lot of very, very interesting things, and I really enjoyed being a researcher, but also combining it with industry projects. And this was really, really a great experience, and I wouldn't want to miss it for the world. It's not for everyone. I can recommend it. And if you liked this video, please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more content like it, or give the video a thumbs up. That's always highly appreciated. If you have comments or questions about doing a PhD in computer science or your own experiences, please comment down below, and I see you in the next video.